Good afternoon. I'm KHOU Meteorologist Chris Ramirez with your extended live stream forecast for the Houston area as we head into the next 48 hours. So tomorrow, that is Saturday, we're going to be under a weather impact alert because we are expecting downpours and some strong storms, and we really are going to have to keep an eye on the potential for damaging wind, large hail, and isolated tornadoes with these storms. I know much of the country has been dealing with this severe weather outbreak, and so it's like it's our turn to deal with a front that's going to be moving through and bringing us our fair share of severe weather as we are in severe weather season here across Texas. So as we look at the timeline, it's the most important aspect of our forecast for the next 48 hours. So heading into tomorrow, we could see some lingering or some isolated, maybe scattered showers from 5 to 8 a.m. And then from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., we're going to be fair game with severe storms possible, more so in the afternoon hours. So if you do have those outdoor plans, just keep an eye on this time, especially for 8 to 5, as we could start seeing those severe storms start flaring up maybe between 12 and 3 p.m. But we are expecting that front to slowly move through southeast Texas. It's not going to be a fast front. And then by 6 to 11 p.m. in the early evening hours, the frontal boundary is going to start moving away from southeast Texas, but we could still see some lingering showers and isolated storms. We're going to have a window of maybe calmness, I think, mostly between 6 and 11, but then there's going to be some wraparound activity with this low pressure system that could bring some coastal storms from midnight to 2 a.m. on Sunday. And then after 2 a.m., we're going to be mostly clear. Things are going to be quiet, and we're also going to see those temps start dropping heading into Sunday morning. So if you're heading to the UH watch party at Avenida, just have it in the back of your mind that we could still see an isolated storm or two moving through the Houston area, but for the most part, we very well could see that front already on its way out of southeast Texas by the start of game time. So from 7 p.m., lingering showers, 10 p.m., mid 60s. Things are going to start becoming calm. You might want to bring a light jacket as temps are going to drop into maybe the lower 60s by the end of the game. So just also keep in mind that northwest winds at 10 to 20 miles an hour. So isolated showers possible, but we will see that front moving away from us going into tomorrow evening in the early evening hours. There is a threat for severe weather for today, Friday, especially for our northern areas. They're including, the Storm Prediction Center is including Conroe, Columbus, portions of northwest Harris County under a marginal risk for severe weather. That's a 1 out of 5. In areas of Huntsville, Bryan, College Stations under that slight risk, that's a 2 out of 5. So it's a more increased threat northwest of us for today. But then that threat increases tomorrow with all of southeast Texas under that slight risk. That's a 2 out of 5. And even areas from Spring, Huntsville, Livingston, and Liberty is going to be under more of an enhanced risk. That's a 3 out of 5. That's a significant threat. So if you are probably wondering where we could see the higher risk of large hail, damaging winds, and isolated tornadoes, it's the areas that you see in orange. Livingston, Liberty, Beaumont, Spring, northern Harris County, Montgomery County, Walker counties could see more of the stronger storms. So even though the areas northeast of us is going to be under that enhanced threat, we cannot rule out the possibility of some of those stronger storms making it south closer towards Houston. And so here's what we're tracking. This is looking at the water vapor satellite imagery, basically showing all of the water vapor in the atmosphere. And you're able to see where that low pressure system, that dip in the jet stream, you see it spinning off towards the west of us, and that is moving closer towards Texas. In the meantime, we have this stationary front that's over the state that's causing a few showers and storms to flare up in North Texas and Oklahoma. And that's where that severe threat for today is north of us. But once we head closer towards tomorrow, as this low moves into the panhandle, it's sort of going to squeeze that those fronts together and just bring more of that storm activity closer to our neck of the woods for tomorrow evening. That's when we're expecting that instability in the atmosphere going into tomorrow once that front does arrive. Behind it, mostly cooler, but just keep in mind that there is going to be that possible severe weather threat for Saturday afternoon. And like I said, mainly northeast of Houston, but we could still see some of those storms pack a punch and become severe in Houston proper from 8 to 5 p.m. And then once we get closer towards maybe 6, 7, that's when you're starting to see that front moving off towards Louisiana and Mississippi. And that's when our severe weather threat's going to decrease for us as we head into the early evening hours. So starting Saturday morning, this is showing you future track. I know I showed you the timeline earlier. This is what we're looking at in terms of storm coverage. Keep in mind that those areas that you see in red, that's sort of those are the stronger storms. Could start off with scattered showers for Saturday morning between 7 and 9 a.m. And then also important to note that as temperatures warm through the day, that usually fuels that storm activity, and that really provides an ingredient for those storms to become severe as we head into the afternoon hours, especially by 3 to 5 p.m. So you're able to see those storms become a bit more widespread. That's when we're looking at more of the stronger storms between 2 and 3 p.m. But we can't rule out some isolated severe storms in the early hours. But early afternoon, once that front moves through, and we're expecting to see those storms ramp up between 3 and 5. And then, like I said, that window of calmness that we were just talking about. Could still see some isolated showers, maybe a stray storm or two here and there by 11 p.m. But then that wraparound activity that we were just talking about, we could see another disturbance move through between 12 and 1 from South Houston to Galveston that could bring some more of those storms in the overnight hours into the early hours of Sunday. So that's kind of more of that wraparound moisture that we usually see with these giant low pressure systems that move through. And then mostly calm, clear, and dry. For Sunday, temperatures are going to begin to plummet. This is looking at the strong storm energy. This is also expecting to see more of an increased threat. So our atmosphere is showing instability in our atmosphere, and that's why you're seeing these orange colors across your screen there. So that strong storm energy in place for right now, that's going to be in the picture at least through tomorrow morning. And then as you see, as that front edges closer towards Houston, where you see this gradient between clear conditions and orange conditions, that's the cold front. And so that strong storm energy is going to be a bit more enhanced going from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And that is going to provide that ingredient for storms to become severe from Houston, especially to Cleveland. You're also able to see that those colors become a bit darker. See the orange color there? A bit darker in terms of more strong storm energy in the afternoon hours when you have that warming, those warming conditions for the afternoon hours. And then once that front clears, strong storm energy is well off towards the east, towards Louisiana, and our severe weather threat will eventually come to an end in later hours of Saturday. But then after that, get those jackets out because we're expecting cool conditions, chilly conditions to once again return to Southeast Texas. I know we've probably thought that the summertime was here and that we were not going to see cool conditions anymore, but you were wrong. We're expecting temperatures to drop in the 40s and 50s by Monday morning. So you're going to need those jackets heading out the door Monday morning. We're going to struggle to make it out of the 60s. And that's going to be the case also for Tuesday, as temps are going to be in the 40s and 50s and eventually getting up into maybe 65, 68 degrees. The good news, though, mostly clear, sunny. Afternoons are going to be pleasant. Highs in the 60s and 70s, sunshine. You can't ask for a better forecast as we head into next week. But before that, today, we're dealing with a very breezy day here across the Houston area. Winds have gusted up to 30, 35 miles an hour. We're seeing those winds between 9 and 10 miles an hour, especially from Houston to Galveston. So definitely expecting that wind advisory to be in place for this afternoon. So if you haven't already, make sure that those loose objects are secure. You don't want to make sure those umbrellas, those outdoor umbrellas, are closed because you don't want to damage your umbrella. I've been a victim of that with an expensive outdoor umbrella. Usually doesn't take much to break them. So mostly clear or mostly warm for today. Breezy conditions lasting for much of the evening, but we are expecting more stronger winds from Houston to Galveston. That includes Richmond, Lake Jackson, Columbus, El Campo, Bay City. And so for areas that are to the south of Houston, you could see higher wind speeds. So as far as your 7-day forecast, highs in the 80s for today. We are going to be under that weather impact alert for Saturday. Everything that I just explained to you, that's the reason why we've issued a weather impact alert for Saturday, just to give you enough time to prepare for the possibility of some severe storms for Saturday, mostly Saturday afternoon. But like I said, from 8 to 5 p.m. is when we're going to start seeing that rain threat start increasing for us here for this weekend. Sunday, we're going to see some isolated showers in the early morning hours, and then mostly clear and pleasant. It's going to be chilly for Monday and Tuesday, highs in the 60s and 70s. We're going to be off to a fantastic week for next week as we are expecting those conditions to finally clear on out across our area. So in the meantime, expecting the possibility for some maybe isolated showers for today. I'm giving you a closer look at radar right now and what we're looking at, and we're already starting to see some of those isolated showers and storms that are already flaring up near maybe Bryan College Station for today. As we warm up into the afternoon hours, we're having a lot of sunshine for today. You're able to see the lack of cloud cover that's over Houston. That usually ends up fueling some storms, but just keep in mind that we could still see some of those stronger storms maybe move in towards Bryan College Station, Cleveland, or extreme northern areas. That does include Huntsville for today. So just keep that in mind, that there is a very slight risk for isolated strong storms today. So if you are north of Houston, definitely keep that in mind, as that's why the Storm Prediction Center is issuing that slight risk for today for areas northwest of Harris County, but they are including portions of Montgomery County under that risk. So green color, where you see more isolated storm activity. The yellow colors, maybe a little bit more scattered storms are expected as we head into today. And then tomorrow, like I said, all of us fair game from Huntsville to Galveston, El Campo, Beaumont, all of Southeast Texas could see the possibility of some strong storm potential going into the earth, starting early Saturday morning and then lasting at least through 7 p.m. So definitely be prepared and at least have 2 or more ways to receive those weather alerts, as we are going to be tracking this severe weather threat and strong storm threat here across the Houston area, at least for tomorrow. So you can always get those alerts on the KHOU 11 app and on KHOU.com, which we're providing you with daily updates and hourly updates of what we're seeing. And as the models, if the models change and we're seeing something new, we are straight at you with the new information, the new forecast, if that does happen. But right now we're pretty set on what's to take place on Saturday. So weather impact alert for Saturday. So definitely be safe out there and be cautious on those roadways if you do have to drive out tomorrow, and maybe have a plan B if you have those outdoor plans. Again, I'm KHOU 11 meteorologist Chris Ramirez with your latest weather update.